You wake in the middle of the night, not because of a sound, because of a presence. Your eyes are still closed, but somehow you already know. Someone is standing in the room with you. This is not a story about wings. This is not a story about halos. This is not a story about comfort. This is a story about messages that changed the fate of everyone who received them. 6 times in Scripture, a messenger steps out of eternity and into a single terrified life. And every single time, something impossible happens next. But one of these appearances is different from all the rest. One of them does not come to comfort a person, or warn a person, or rescue a person. It comes to reverse death itself. We will save that one for last. Start in the wilderness with a woman named Hagar. She is pregnant, alone, and running from a mistress who has made her life unbearable, running toward nothing, because the desert does not care where you go. And then, by a spring of water, someone finds her. He does not scold her. He does not send her back empty-handed. He asks her one simple question: "Where have you come from, and where are you going?" And when she answers honestly, he gives her something no servant girl in the ancient world was ever given: a promise, and a name for God she invents on the spot. El Roi, the God who sees me. You can imagine what that meant to a woman the rest of the world had stopped looking at. Not rescued from the desert, seen in it. Stay with me, because the next appearance is not gentle at all. A man named Jacob is alone by a river called the Jabbok, and he has every reason to be afraid. Tomorrow, he will face the brother he betrayed 20 years ago, a brother with 400 armed men. So Jacob sends his family across the water, and he waits in the dark. And a man grabs him. They wrestle until the sky starts to turn gray. Jacob will not let go, even after his hip is wrenched out of its socket, even after the pain should have ended the fight. "I will not let you go," he says, "unless you bless me." And the messenger does something stranger than a blessing. He changes Jacob's name, not Jacob, grasper, deceiver, but Israel, one who has struggled with God and lived. The Hebrew word behind this messenger is malach. It simply means one who is sent. Scripture almost never lingers on what these beings look like. It lingers on what they carry. If this pattern is starting to unsettle you a little, good. That means you are paying attention. Subscribe now, because the messenger who appears at the very end of this video is unlike anything that has come before it. Here is what most people miss about the next appearance. Gideon is not a hero when the messenger finds him. He is hiding in a wine press, threshing wheat in secret, terrified that raiders will steal his family's last harvest. And the messenger sits down under an oak tree and says the last thing Gideon expects to hear: "The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor." Gideon looks around like the words must be meant for someone else. If the Lord is with us, he says, then why has all this happened to us? It is not faith, it is closer to a complaint. And the messenger does not argue with him. He simply repeats the assignment until the frightened farmer becomes the man who will lead an army of 300 against an empire. Centuries later, in Babylon, an old man named Daniel is still praying toward a city he has not seen in decades, Jerusalem, in ruins, its temple burned. And while he is praying, in the middle of the evening sacrifice, a being named Gabriel arrives in what the text calls swift flight. His name in Hebrew means, "God is my strength." The message is built into the name before he says a single word. Gabriel does not bring comfort. He brings a number. 70 weeks, he tells Daniel, a countdown to something the old man will never live to see, but will trust anyway. The theologian Augustine once taught that the word angel is not the name of what these beings are made of. It is the name of a job. The same being could be called a spirit when it simply exists, and an angel the moment it is sent to deliver something. In other words, every single appearance in this list is not about a creature. It is about an errand. There is one more thing before we reach the end. In a small town called Nazareth, Gabriel appears one final time. Not to an old man in exile, not to a farmer hiding from raiders, but to a teenage girl engaged to a carpenter. "You have found favor with God," he tells her, and what he asks of her will cost her everything, her reputation, her plans, possibly her life. And she says yes anyway. Now watch what happens next, because everything you have heard tonight has been building toward one final morning. 3 days after a man is executed on a Roman cross, a group of women walk toward his tomb before sunrise, carrying spices for a body they expect to find. Instead, they find the stone rolled back and a messenger sitting where the body should be. He does not ask them to be afraid. He says 4 words that undo everything. He's not here. Remember the promise from the beginning of this video, that one appearance would not come to comfort or warn or rescue, but to reverse death itself. This is it. Not a warning whispered in the dark. Not a name given in a wilderness. A stone rolled away, and a grave standing empty in the first light of morning. You know that feeling of waking in the middle of the night, certain someone else is in the room, before you even open your eyes. Mary Magdalene had that feeling too, standing in a garden at dawn, except when she turned around, the presence in the room was real, and it was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new one. So here is what 6 appearances, spread across 2,000 years, actually teach you. First, these messengers almost never say, "Do not be afraid," without also handing over an assignment. Comfort and calling arrive together. Second, every single time, the messenger finds the person who feels least qualified: the runaway servant, the guilty brother, the frightened farmer, the exile, the teenage girl, the grieving woman at a tomb, not the powerful, the overlooked. And third, the one that should stay with you longest. The final messenger in this list did not come to tell anyone where God was hiding. He came to say, the grave was empty. And it still is. If a messenger showed up at your door tonight, what do you think they would say to you? Tell me below.